issue that we need to work on, and if there's anything I can do to help so that we can progress, so that we have this Wi-Fi, so that we can work from home and have a better standard of living here in Castle County without any endangerment to the environment. And I know a lot of people love farming, and we can all work together. Thank you.
Next, we have Ms. Ernestine Hamlet.
I'm going to yield my time to someone else.
Okay, we'll move on to David Herman.
Hey, it's good to see y'all. First thing I want to announce is that y'all know pedophile Sterling Carter is in prison now, so we can. We've known he was even before that, there was something wrong with the guy. You know, I try to warn people, but nobody wanted to listen. But anyway, of course, these masks y'all wearing. Every time you get some of the COVID in your mouth, you breathe it right in that mask and right back into your lungs. Exhaling is a way you get rid of viruses out of your body. You're increasing your viral load every time you breathe in after you've had one virus in there. It's multiplying. You're trying to get it out of your lungs, and you got a mask on your face. What do you think is going to happen? Why do you think people are getting so sick so quick? Because they got these masks on, and they can't get the virus out. They wouldn't have that kind of viral load if they didn't have a damn mask on their face. Not only that, all you with cloth masks on, you know how disgusting that is? It's dripping. If you could put a UV light, it's dripping with bacteria and viruses. It's disgusting. And you're rebreathing that. You're putting a tax on your immune system. Part of your immune system is you exhale. You're messing that up. We're not supposed to have. It didn't work in the Spanish flu, and that was a hell of a lot worse than that. Why would it work now? Y'all crazy. You've been brainwashed, some of you. You don't need these things. They're bad for you. They haven't stopped the virus in any way, or slowed it down. I haven't won since day one, unless I've had to. I haven't been sick yet. I guarantee I've been exposed to COVID more than anybody in this room. I drive Uber for a living. I guarantee I've been exposed more than anybody in this room. I shop all the time. Every time I grab a handle, I'm putting COVID on my hand. So are you. Every time you go to Walmart, every time you go to Food Line, there's COVID all over your hand. Last thing, I'll tell you what, man. I've never heard anything as divisive in this county as this potential mask mandate. You fire me, if I was a county employee, I would go to somebody's house. You're playing around with somebody's livelihood. You got no business with that. That's not what you're here for. Biden politics don't belong in Castlewood County, whether you're a Democrat or not. I think we can all agree on that. This is not a place for that. You're one hell of a person if you're going to fire somebody for unscientific reason. You are 13 times better protected by an infected person who's got antibodies and no vaccine than a person that's vaccinated. 13 times safer around somebody who's got natural immunity. Not only that, natural immunity is way superior to a freaking vaccine. How is it y'all don't know this? And how is it, Steve, thank you for sending that note out about the therapeutic treatments. How many people know that they can go right now if they feel sick and get treated for COVID and you won't have serious side effects, you won't die, and you'll be out of the hospital right away. You'll never be sick. How many people knew that there was stuff? Thank you for sending that out. Steve sent out a thing talking about this. There's multiple facilities you can go to right now to be treated if you feel sick. You don't have to die from COVID.
Next, we have Temple Powell.
Yeah.
Ms. Powell, do you have things to pass out to the board?
Yes.
I'm happy to do that for you.
Please show it to the commissioner. Thank you.
County Commissioners, staff, and fellow Americans. My name is Temple Powell, and I am against the proposed mandatory vaccination of Caswell County employees. Commissioners, I will be referring to the documents I just gave you. Fellow citizens, please refer to the visuals. I am a former county employee with the Department of Social Services. I worked with an incredible staff of men and women, and Director Moorfield was the fairest director I've ever worked for. So it paid me to resign due solely, in my personal opinion, so it paid me to resign due solely to the mass COVID policies followed by DSS. First visual. It is my understanding from this document that masks were strongly recommended for unvaccinated individuals at the time this bill was taken. It is also my understanding from this document that Brian Miller, county manager, had the final say on the mass COVID-19 policies that DSS followed during my employment there. In my opinion, this caused division. Second visual. It is my understanding that this document, which was posted on the DSS employee's door, is the DSS list of those wanting the COVID vaccination and how many doses they have received. It is my understanding. In my opinion, this is terrifying and outrageous. I redacted this document to ensure the privacy of the employees. Third visual. It is my understanding that this document posted below the previous document is a list of all Caswell County DSS employees. It is also my understanding that the names highlighted in yellow are the ones who have received the COVID vaccinations and those, or vaccination, and those not highlighted in yellow had not received said vaccination. It is my opinion that this is disgraceful, that anyone who sees this document or the previous one, if he's, or it is my opinion that this is disgraceful, that anyone who sees this document could easily assume that I received.
Ma'am, can you bring those over to the table?
Yes.
Those are all the names we have on the public comment sign-up sheet, and there are no people at the library in the overflow.
Seeing public comments, and anyone else out there that didn't sign up, or want to speak at this time? It's not a public comment. Next on the agenda is the recognition. Commission have a recognition. Mr. Sack, I'll try to sorry. We got any recognitions? I need approval of the agenda before we approve the agenda, I'd like to review, number 10, voting and committee appointments in the closed session.
So moved. Want to do what? I'm sorry. Go move number 10 after the closed session. Thank you. Second.
I had a motion to move to the closed session, all in favor, say aye. All opposed? Passes unanimously. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Wait, second. Six, all in favor, say aye. All opposed? Carried unanimously. Okay. September the 7th, 2021, regular meeting, minutes, and all that was approved. Okay. Next on the agenda be Vaccinations High School construction project, Bill Powell.
Bill. For the other commissioners. Are they on?
Yes,
Mr. Hall and Mr. Carter.
Mr. Hall and Mr. Carter on.
By the time we get, I couldn't see it.
Hold on.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'll try to not speak too loudly into this. First, I appreciate you having me here, I'm Bill Powell, with LP Consulting, and I'm helping Caswell County and the Caswell County Board of Education with part of the Yancey High School's new and renovations. First, I'd like to thank Chairman, Commissioners, County Manager, and staff, and the public. I'd like to start right here in the beginning of this and take a look at that picture. If you could hit the full screen thing. That picture has the backhoe in it, and that's noted. That was at the beginning of the project. At the end of this, you're going to see the next steps of Bartlett Yancey and what that sign looks like. But for now, this presentation was given on the 13th of September to the Board of Education. And I'll move through fairly quickly on these. We started with, you've seen these before, the budgeted amount, the contract. And as we go down, we've got the construction contingencies used, 176,373, or 16% of the 1.1 million that sits in the construction. So consider the project is, as you'll see, I'm in 76% complete, and we've utilized 16% of the contingency. That's really fabulous. The project phase 1, in May, it was 64%. Today, phase 1, the 2-story, 97%. I think most of you can take a drive by and look at that. The total project, which includes phase 1, when we presented before, was 47%. Now it's 76% complete. Total project. And on this, I kind of wanted to come back because everybody wants to say, are we doing what we said we would do on the job site? So in May, we came with a series of items: salvage, demolition, courtyards, connected corridors, tax, underground sewer, water, a lot of things outside and inside the building. Said they were complete. They have. The building is looking really, really good. If you look at the site, you see it. At the same time, down below, we had some items to complete: intercom, fire alarm, security camera replacement. I'm going to say the last item there was complete. And the system has been operating since July in the building. So Bartlett Yancey High School is running from within the new building on the construction site. That's an exciting moment. That's it. Power, data, and the internet is all functioning. And so we look at intercom, fire alarm, security, and cameras and say, well, why are they not operating? Well, we had a little problem when COVID came on. So COVID, by doing that, an expanded summer school, since the kids were what I call the left-hand side of campus, east wing, civic, vocational. Since the kids were in there all but 3-4 weeks, the contractor didn't have time in those 3 weeks. He needs a full 2 to 3 months to do that. He'll work that after we move in the new building. But I wanted to know that we are working hard and that we also have circumstances that hurt us in the process. So I'm going to go to the next slide. And we'll talk about the overall project schedule update. The project completion remains August 2nd, 2022. We have an intermediate phase, phase 1 of the 2-story. And I'll talk about, in May, we had 23 weather days. And in September, we had 28 days related to material delays in the construction. The phase 1 schedule, completion September 22nd. And the students will move in the week of October 25th. What an exciting day for Castle County, with students in their building. We currently have a TCO in the building, and furniture and supplies will be moving in the next 4 weeks. So that by October 25th, we can have students. The next one is the industry material supply chain. So as we look around, there are a lot of things that have happened in the last year and a half. In the left-hand chart, you'll see a lot of red and blue, and I know you probably can't read the numbers, but if you start at the top, this is shortages. And the top on the left-hand side says that 93% of the construction projects have appliance delays. And if you go down in the middle, HVAC equipment, 68% of projects have material delays. Apartment Yancey have to be one of those. They have wiring, materials, and so forth delays. And then overall, 83% of the contractors in the country experience delays for that respect. Now, let's go to the next. But considering the weather, considering COVID, pandemic, industry materials and supply chain issues, the contractor has worked tremendously, and most of you have seen out at the job site over the past, trailers full of materials, construction site full of materials, building full of materials. The contractor pre-ordered and received goods and held them in storage to avoid delays, which they've done an amazing job with, considering what we've gone through. So it's all in place, we're moving. On the left, you see what the outside looks like. On the right, you see what the inside looks like in the media center. It's a finished building. Then we'll go and we're going to hit 3 or 4 things. This happens to be June, wiring, July, demolition. August, lower left, is starting the foundations and dining and quarters. And the bottom right is the quarter and the dining room foundations. So all that's going on. You're already there, which is June, overhead work. July, upper right, ceiling grid. August, paint flooring. September, there's a finished science classroom in the building as we speak. I do a little bit more interior. On the left, you've got metal studs. On the right, drywall, bottom left, finishes, painting. On the bottom right, finished interior common space. And the outside, you can see a little bit, so kind of look and think as you look through this. And the left-hand side is the old 200 and 300 building. On the center is the roof is complete, don't have air handlers. On the front, grading, no concrete. As we go to the next one. Still got the old building there in June. You see some mechanical units on the roof. Concrete and grading. We started out in the courtyard, so things are really kicking off pretty good. And then if you think about, and then we look at this one with the old 200 and 300 halls in the back, they're gone. Front building's looking good, concrete's good right to left in the front, so it's really moving along quickly. And then as we go in there to August, in the back, you see the demo complete. They're actually grading and footings. The building roofs are going on. And I'd kind of like for you to look at the roofs now. We have now got all the air handlers in place. They were held up in the same chips that held up all the auto manufacturers. But they're in place. But the contractor down next to the building, there's 2 little white dots down next to the new building. And those are temporary air conditioning units. The contractor rented those, put them to work, air condition the building so we can continue construction even without the air handlers. So the contractor's gone the extra mile to make sure that the campus received all the interior finishes even before the air handlers were put in place and turned on. Now we've got the dining quarter in the back, it's September. It's pretty close to the way it looks today in the area. The front parking lot, as you look, it's bright and ready to go. Most of you have driven by. Courtyards in progress. This is quite a tremendous thing that's all happening. This, what you see in these slides, is all 4 months. When you think about the total project in 15 months, what it's accomplished, that is tremendous. I've been in a lot of construction, and to do in 15 months a 2-story, 115,000 square foot building is a pretty awesome feat. We're fortunate to have a good contractor. Let's go to my closing, and I said, remember the sign. This is the new digital age, and so the new Bartlett Nancy sign is in place. It's time to open school, and the kids will be there in about a month. Any questions out of it? There you go. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. Howell. Next on the agenda, the Calvert County employees, vaccination status. Mr. Miller.
Commissioners, a lot's happened over the past 2 weeks that involve vaccine mandates. We were asked by this board to bring back the topic of county employees and the vaccination status for the purpose of discussing mandatory vaccinations. I've also provided 2 items for your review with the agenda packet. The first being the blog post we spoke about at our last meeting by Diane Jeffers. And the second being a bill to make it unlawful for the state of North Carolina to mandate vaccinations against particular illnesses, including COVID-19, to require proof of vaccination or proof of immunity against COVID-19 or other illnesses, to discriminate in public accommodations, employment, or otherwise on the basis of vaccination status, proof of vaccination or proof of immunity against COVID-19 and other illnesses, to mandate forced participation in a vaccination tracking system, and to require a patient to waive privacy rights in order to obtain a vaccination. President Biden has also announced new COVID-19 mandates. Many of those mandates, 3 of those mandates, will, if they make it through the court system, and through OSHA and through the Department of Labor, apply in Calvert County. And that's requiring employers with 100 or more employees to ensure that their workforces are fully vaccinated, and to impose mandatory weekly testing requirements for any employees that remain unvaccinated, requiring all employers with 100 or more employees to provide paid time off to get vaccinated, and imposing mandatory vaccination requirements for workers employed by healthcare facilities. I think it's important for the board to know that I did speak with the NCACC risk pool today about the federal ETS, and that's the emergency temporary standard. And they believe that because of the legal challenges that are involved, and because of just the sheer time that it takes OSHA to adopt something, and then it trickle down to the state level, and then the state to approve it, that they said they believe it will be at least a year before the standard trickles down to the state level, if it ever does at all, if it passes these legal challenges. So overall, county employee base is 68% vaccinated, 250 employees, 170 are vaccinated, 80 are unvaccinated. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have about this. We do have our local health director, Jennifer Eastwood, with us tonight. But I'm happy to answer any questions. This is an agenda item that you as the board said to bring back. You wanted to discuss it among yourselves. So we're here listening, and we're able to answer any questions you have. Thank you.
Mr. Vice Chairman, I want to make it clear, it was stated on Facebook and several other places that I was trying to mandate face masks and shots. I want you to know that it is on record, on tape, that I said that I would not mandate it and would not go along with the face mask. I said I hated to tell anybody that was over 21 years of age that they had to take the shot. And if you don't believe it, listen to the recording and see what it says. So I would not be in favor of doing it. And I also said, because we're not in the same clique, John, but I also said there's a little joke about 99 counties. I also said there's something to the effect that there was 99 more counties. And, you know, that didn't have nothing to do with it, really and truly. I'm not threatened to get rid of any county employees because they didn't take the test, didn't take the shot. Perhaps, you know, if you would show up at the meetings in the morning, when we have morning meetings, you would know what I said. There's plenty of witnesses here that know what I said, and, you know, but you don't get out. I am concerned about what's going on over at EMS, very concerned, whether you know it or not, because I guess you take part in that kind of stuff. A couple of weeks ago, we only had 2 ambulances covering the entire county. Thankfully and hopefully somebody else helped cover the county, other counties. Last night, there was a particular call developed, and the ambulance went, and we only had 1 person on the ambulance, 1 EMT or paramedic or whatever they were, and they had to wait on a fire person to get there and drive the ambulance. And I am concerned about that. It's part of our duty as this board to help protect this county.
Well, Mr. McVeigh, comments as to your view on the mandatory vaccination were pulled directly from the minutes that are in the packet. So if you got a problem with it, I suggest that you go back and read what they said that you actually.
We've already been back and checked the recording.
Well, after the meeting goes over, I'll be glad.
Anyway, I know what I said.
Yeah, I know what you said too.
I know what I said.
And also, this board has no business whatsoever mandating vaccinations for anybody. That is a personal decision. If you want to do it based upon facts and figures, we need to just start looking at how all of it plays out.
So you'll know.
I'll let you talk. I got the floor. This vaccination, if you're trying to stop the spread of this virus by mandating vaccines for people, you're doing it the wrong way. The research has shown, and more of it's coming out, vaccinated and unvaccinated spread this virus. They had similar viral loads. I can read them off if you want me to, but I'll condense it for the sake of time. They've done studies in the UK where they have randomly checked large portions of the population. The viral load in vaccinated, the viral load in unvaccinated. Both similar levels. Gets more interesting when they start talking about the Johns Hopkins University study done by the information compiled on 700,000 persons, study that they did. Of the people that had COVID, they were up to 27 times better protected than somebody that got the vaccination. So if you came into contact with it, got sick with it, recovered, you were up to 27 times better protected. So why aren't we talking about any of these facts and figures as we talk about mandating vaccines for county employees?
I'm not going to mandate it.
Before we get to that, I'll stop the other thing. Fine, I'm gonna talk myself. I do think it should be mandated that every employee in Campbell County should take the vaccine, to take that shot. I said it, and
That's probably true.
and I said that I think that everyone that works in Campbell County should take the vaccination. This is how I feel. And I'm going to make a motion tonight that every employee that works for Caswell County must take the shot. I mean, we got people going to EMS and different places that need to vote. You know, and the others, you don't have the shot, as I said, maybe it won't get somebody. But I feel like that every person in Caswell County that works for the county should take the shot as a leader. That's how I feel. That's all.
Yeah, thank you. I'm wondering if I could have Ms. Eastwood comment, reply to a couple of my questions. And I know, as usual, I've got difficult questions. You may not have the information at hand, but I would appreciate your comment. I'll preface this remarks by we do have a House Bill 558 that says that the governor cannot, or the state cannot mandate vaccine, basically. We have President Biden saying that you need to get a vaccine or be tested once a week. So we've got conflicting issues going on there. My question is, do people vaccinated versus unvaccinated carry the same viral load?
I can answer that question. I don't have that information with me tonight. I can tell you that people who are vaccinated have a less severe symptoms, and they have a less chance of being hospitalized, and that's what we know. But I don't think we're here to argue the effectiveness of the vaccine. That's not really the point of the discussion tonight.
And I'm not advocating we argue about anything, I'm just trying to get some information. Do cloth or gator masks, how effective are they at actually stopping the virus coming and going compared to the KN95?
Gator masks, like we have said since the beginning, are not effective at all. Neither are mesh masks or the masks that have the valve on them. None of those are considered to be effective. Otherwise, cloth masks are considered to be effective to keep people from spreading the virus.
These masks are as effective as the KN95.
The N95 masks are used in healthcare. Otherwise, just in the general coming and going of life, surgical masks or cloth masks are approved.
That's interesting. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Fowler, can you give, all
They are old,
that was thinking?
their cameras turned off.
Mr. Will, if the mandate does happen to come down to us here in this county, and we do not comply with it, what happens?
So if our healthcare facilities,
Take your mask off.
so the first thing I'll say is, number one, they haven't written the rules yet. So what's been reported and what's been talked about is up to, so when they talk about employers with 100 employees or more, if you don't comply with that, there's I think it's about a $14,000 per violation penalty. So I think it's $14,000 per occurrence. when we're talking about healthcare settings, what's being said is those healthcare settings that receive federal funding, i.e. Medicare, Medicaid dollars, which both our health department and EMS do receive. I can't tell you if we'll lose that altogether, if we'll not be able to provide those services any longer, or if the funding will be cut pro rata. I can't tell you what's going to happen, because here again, the rules haven't been set. But I do know that funding for the Medicare and Medicaid funding for the health department is upwards of $800,000. But here again, haven't written the rules yet. The NCACC says it's going to be at least a year. If you're considering acting on the president's mandate, I would say at least wait until you get the rules. If that's the reason you're considering a mandate. I think the language of those rules are incredibly.
I have some I want to interject into this. Appears to me that if we're going to go the extra mile and mandate that employees take this vaccination, it's my understanding that pharmaceutical companies have immunity from being sued. They have to go in, if you're injured by side effects from a vaccine or you die. There's a settlement pool set up at the federal government level which limits your ability to recover your damages. So we're going to force these people to take this. We are not exempt from being sued by them if they have side effects of the vaccine or they, God forbid, one of our employees die. Is that correct?
I think that's an excellent question for our county attorney.
Good evening. So as a local government in North Carolina, the county enjoys certain immunities from lawsuits. So there is some traditional protection afforded for general tort actions in North Carolina for local governments acting in their governmental capacity. I haven't looked at the landscape, if you will, about suits of the type that you just described, Commissioner Dickerson, but there is some general immunity available. We could look more at that and see if there's any direct experiences, but there may very well be some immunity, not statutorily, perhaps, as you described, that maybe is written into the vaccine mandate at the federal level, but there's some general immunities that may apply.
So does that mean that these poor employees, if they're injured or die, they're just left holding the bag? If that's the case, then I would counter that this county, if they're man enough to tell these people they've got to take this shot, we ought to be man enough as a board to waive that liability and be able to stand behind what we make these people do. If they get sick, we ought to financially stick by them and pay for any and all side effects or any unintended deaths from this vaccine. It's not fair to tell them to take it and then say, oh, by the way, you're on your own if you get sick or die from it.
Yeah, I can't advise waiving any of the available immunities, but I understand your point.
Well, I'd like for you to dig into that and tell me exactly where you think we stand on it, because it's a very important issue for me. I want to know in detail, not just objectively, but give some case study on this. Let's see what we're actually dealing with.
And it's a novel issue, so I don't know. I can look and see if there's anything available, to date on the question.
Thank you. Oh, I got one more thing. Back to you, Mr. Anybody else want to let this slide? But you made a comment that I would come to the meetings in the morning. I want you to know something, and all the constituents out of Castle County. I have missed one meeting since I was sworn in. I do Zoom when I'm not able to be in person. I work a full-time job. You have the luxury of being retired and you have a wide open schedule. I was on vacation last week, touched base with the county manager. He knew I was not going to be in that meeting. So I don't like taking the cheap little shots at it, though. I am dedicated to my position on this board, and I look out at the people in this county. And I want to read something else that one of them sent me, because he wanted to make sure that all the commissioners got this. So while we're on this topic, let's make sure that voices are heard. I left you a voicemail yesterday, but I wanted to make sure I contacted you regarding the proposed vaccine mandate. I'm a county employee, and I'm in management of my department. If the county was to mandate the vaccine, the staffing shortage we have dealt with over the past months would become considerably worse immediately. This will affect emergency services as well as every other department. I do not know anyone that wants to wait longer for an ambulance to arrive during an emergency because the county has mandated employees get the vaccine. Yada, yada, I guess. But please share this with the other commissioners when it is discussed on Monday night. This will definitely lead to employee resignations. Just so I get it on the record, I said I would read it, it is on there.
I'm going to make a motion that all county employees must take the vaccine. If I could get something.
Mr. Chairman, Bill Carter.
Yes. I heard you.
Bill Carter, can you hear me?
I got you. Okay.
I'm against any mandate on the vaccinations, on, mandating the county employees to take their vaccination. It should be up to the employee whether they wants to take it or not. Mandating employees, you'd be going against the Bill of Rights and the Declaration of Independence. And I think I'm not for paying employees to get the shot, but I'm not for mandatory making them take the shot. It should be up to the individual. We can't dictate people what to do. You're promoting more government instead of less government. And if Crazy Joe wants to continue his plan, I mean, it don't mean Castle County has to, but I don't think we should mandate making our employees take the shot. If they want to take it, fine. If they don't, but in the meantime, I don't think we need to pay them no money to take the shot. Nobody paid you or me or anybody else to take the shot. So they want to take it on their own free will. I think it's fine, but I don't think this board needs to mandate any of the county employees taking the shot.
Motion died, second. We'll move on. Okay, next on the item, agenda, intent to sell Calvin County Home Health Aid, Mr. Miller.
Commissioners, this is the final round of required statutory requirements for the sale of the Castle County Home Health Agency. In your agenda packet, you have the following: an asset purchase agreement with the sale price set at $750,000, a personnel lease agreement, a facilities lease agreement, and a resolution approving the transaction. We expect the lease rate to be the lease rate for the facility lease rate to be somewhere around $1,650 per square foot for space leased within the health department. We also expect the employee wages to increase slightly in the personnel lease from what you have in your agenda packet. We also, it's important for the board to know, speaking of personnel, it's important for the board to know that we have positions for 4 of the 5 employees currently employed by Home Health, and we'll hold those positions until the end of the employee lease. All 4 of these employees have done as we originally requested the employees to do, so they will be eligible and receive the retention bonus as we originally described to you in the early parts of this process. There may also be other slight modifications to the leases based on the acceptance of our attorney, the health director, their attorney, and myself. We may also have the option to allow employees to continue to drive our county vehicles as part of the employee lease. So if we do that, we may also enter into a lease for the vehicles based on the approval from our county attorney and the consultant we hired, the attorney that we hired as a consultant to walk us through this process. So tonight we would ask for approval of all 4 items based on the approval from our consultant attorney, Aaron Roberts, that the board approved to help the county through the transition. I'll ask Jennifer Eastwood if there's anything further that she would like to add, and if not, we're happy to answer any questions you may have. Jennifer, do you have anything to add?
Unless there are questions.
You want to add something to this?
No, unless there are questions.
Did you just say that this agreement, you're proposing that we allow the employees that would go to work with the purchasing agency to drive county cars?
So there's an employee lease as one of the 4 documents in this. And basically what we're doing, and Jennifer explains it much better than I do, but basically what we're doing is allowing our employees to work for HealthView.
So the Medicare number that is tied to our license belongs to us and our physical location with our staff. And until Medicare ties that number back to the new company, they have to operate at our physical location and they need our staff to meet. So this would in essence lease our staff to them for a given amount of time until that tieback number comes to us and that Medicare number is transferred to the new company to help you. This is a requirement.
But the cost, I understand the salary and the cost, that is actually paid by the healthcare company.
Right.
I was asking about the leasing, the vehicle leasing cost. Would that also be paid for by them ultimately, even though it's through our lease?
Yes.
Yes.
The choice would either be to pay staff to drive their own vehicles, reimburse them mileage, or for them to continue to drive our vehicles because in essence, they are still county employees.
But it's actually being.
But it would be paid by them, yes.
I think a little bit. Are you asking if we have a motion? Exactly what form should that motion take, Mr. Moore?
I would like to see a motion on each individual item. If you're approving each individual item, I would like to see a motion on each individual item. To approve, a motion to approve the asset purchase agreement, for instance.
Can you walk me through the attachments?
The asset purchase agreement.
What page?
Do you have?
You can see there are about 100 pages this way.
Yeah, just a second.
The asset purchase agreement begins on page 87 in my materials. And if you would, Mr. Manager and board, as you consider the approvals tonight, if you'll make everything but the resolution subject to final approval of the county's lawyers. In this case, that's your consulting lawyer that you've engaged particular for this process. And then of course, I'll be consulting with her about the final document. So if you're so inclined to approve the documents tonight, everything but the resolution should be approved subject to final legal review.
trying to figure it out. What page is the asset? Just tell me what the motion should be.
The motion should be to approve the asset purchase agreement based on final county attorney and consultant approval.
Mr. Vice Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the
Asset purchase.
asset purchase agreement pending approval by the attorney.
Plural, the county attorney and the consultant.
The county attorney and the consulting attorney.
Second. You all heard the motion? Are you ready for the question? I can't get his name in Mr. Carter. Mr. Hall, Mr. Carter, you all heard?
Mr. Hall is having technical difficulties, but Carter can see.
Mr. Carter can see, Mr. Hall is having technical difficulties. I don't think he's with us right now.
He is, but he can't speak.
Okay, so he's just not available to speak.
Mr. Chairman, I would just encourage you to move forward with the votes with the quorum you have present. So an affirmative vote of 3 out of 4 would be required this evening on any matter before you. And I would just, for the purposes of this meeting, I think that's the best way to proceed.
All the way. All in favor, please raise your hand.
It's an aye.
Yeah. Motion carried. All right, next thing on the agenda, young man. Let's go to that man.
Oh, I had mine off because Mr. Willis had his off the whole time. Those strikers got his off. I put mine back on. Well,
I am speaking. You are sitting. You need a mask on.
okay.
Commissioners, the next thing we need is the personnel lease agreement. So we would need a motion to approve the personnel lease agreement based on approval by the county attorney and the consultant.
You're gonna have to go through it.
I make a motion that we approve which is
Personnel lease agreement.
personnel lease agreement pending approval by the county attorney and the
Consultant.
consulting attorney.
All in favor, let me know by saying aye. Any questions? All in favor of the motion, let me know by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, very unanimous.
Commissioners, the next motion we need is a motion to approve the facility lease agreement based on approval by the county attorney and the consultant.
Mr. Vice Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the facilities agreement pending approval by the county attorney and the facility
And the consultant.
consulting attorney.
Second. You heard the motion, any questions? All in favor, you got a question? All in favor, saying aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carried.
So Commissioners, the next motion we would need is a motion approving the resolution that approves the transaction.
Mr. Vice Chairman, I make a motion, we approve the resolution approving the transaction.
No,
Period.
Motion is made to approve the resolution, transaction, all in favor? Any questions? No question, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, carried. Anything else? Anything else?
no, that's it. We can move on to the next.
Next on item is, permanent pay for county employees, Mr. Miller.
Commissioners, I'm requesting that the board designate the following departments as those workers needed to maintain continuity of operations of essential critical infrastructure sectors and additional sectors as each governor of a state, territory, or or tribal government may designate as critical to protect the health and well-being of the residents of their state, territory, or tribal government, and allocate $300,000 of American Rescue Plan premium pay for those county employees. A current full-time or part-time county employee or part-time permanent county employee may receive an additional $10 per hour for each hour worked, excluding teleworking hours, not to exceed 100 hours, from the period of March 16, 2020 to present. And I'll read those departments for you in just a second. Okay, the departments are as follows. The Health Department, Department of Social Services, Sheriff's Office, Farmers Lake, EMS Maintenance, Solid Waste, Family Services, Senior Center, Administration, not including the county manager, Tax, Animal Control, Library, Building Inspections, Planning, Finance, IT, Parks and Rec, Section 8 Housing, Register of Deeds, Soil and Water, Economic Development, CAPS, Cooperative Extension, Elections, 911. I will say if this is approved, I would recommend the board approve this to be paid out in December, or if any county employee between the time of approval and the December payroll happens to retire and be paid out in their last paycheck, if the board approves it. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Y'all heard from the county manager, what's the pleasure for?
Let me understand, you read along the list, did that cover all the county employees?
It does, every county employee except for myself. That's correct.
What's the pleasure for?
I would think it'd be a good thing to do, make a motion that we approve it as presented by the county manager.
Second. Yes. Motion made, Mr. Speaker, second. Very, all in favor, say aye. All opposed, motion carried. Next on the agenda is P-CARD program resolution. Mr. Miller.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice Chairman, in your agenda packet, you will see a P-CARD resolution for the P-CARD program that authorizes the county government to enter into the type of transactions we need to make the program work. You also see policy for the purchase card program. So, it's in your agenda pack. We're happy to answer any questions. We do have with us our finance director and our deputy finance director. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. If there's questions I can't answer, finance director or deputy finance director will probably answer those. We would ask that the board approve the policy so we can move forward with the SunTrust to implement the program.
Y'all heard from Mr. Miller, county manager. Questions?
At our last meeting, we had a very good review of this program. And I asked several questions about security and the limits on what was available, but each employee would have a pretty specific limit, would be limited to their department budget. That this program is certainly more secure, if you will, lower liability than just a roaming credit card, if you will, for the county. So I believe that this is a good step forward to help secure the county's financing. And I would be happy to make a motion to approve the Castle County Local Government Purchasing Card Program and policy procedure manual associated therewith.
I'll start the motion. I second. Who made the motion? I second. Okay. Motion is made and second. Any questions? All in favor, say aye. I'll do one. Aye. Motion carried. Are we hearing from next, Commissioner Carter?
The guidance from the county attorney says to proceed with, the form you have, seated here in the courtroom tonight.
Next on the agenda will be solid waste equipment protection plan. Bill?
Commissioners, what you have in your agenda packet is, solid waste equipment protection plan. What comes with the purchase of the equipment is 36-month, 3,000 hour protection plan. The extended warranty offers 60 months, 7,500 hours of coverage. The price for the extended warranty is $6,190. We would ask that you approve the solid waste equipment protection plan, but we are not recommending at this time for the board to consider the solid waste maintenance plan. The maintenance plan was about $20,000. We're still gathering information on local maintenance. We don't believe that's going to be the way we need to go, but we do believe the extended warranty is probably a good thing for the county to enter into. So we would ask for approval of the solid waste equipment protection plan.
For extended warranty, was how many hours?
The extended warranty is 60 months, 7,500 hours, and that puts us right at, based on what we currently use per year, the 5 years puts us right at 7,500 hours. So the term and the hours coincide for us.
Need a motion on that?
We do need a motion to approve if the board so chooses.
I'll make a motion to purchase the protection. Second. Motion is made and second. Any questions? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, carried. Okay. Next on the agenda is the county manager update.
Commissioners, I have 2 updates for you. First, I want to make the board aware that downstairs, as you come through the front door, we will be installing an additional level of security for county employees in the courthouse, very similar to what we're doing at the DA's office, in a glass and door, a secondary door after you come in. Currently, the way that the county offices are situated, anybody can come straight in and walk through the back into the finance office and the clerk's office, and it's pretty much free reign. We're looking for just a little bit more control over allowing visitors back into the courthouse. So we wanted the board to be aware that we were going to start that install probably over the next week and a half, 2 weeks. So you may see it coming next week. Are there any questions on that? Yes, sir.
Is that we had talked in the past about being a half door or whatever. Is this a full door, half door, 3/4?
No, this is a full door, and the partition, divides the entire hallway. So in front of the receptionist desk, all the way to the other side of the hall with a door, that's able to be unlocked by the administrative assistant, when somebody enters the courthouse.
And what about the back door? That will be closed?
The back door already has a key card lock on it.
It is not going to be open during,
No,
that will be part of the policy procedure.
say again.
That would be part of the procedure.
Yes, that's correct.
We like to,
Are there any other questions?
we didn't need a motion on that.
No, we don't need a motion on that. So, where's this sign? So, is Laura still with us? Let's vote it up. Okay, yeah, can you hear what I'm saying? Okay. I want to give you an update on the program that coincidentally she spoke about earlier. I'm sorry to say it's not a good update. River Street Networks gave a presentation on the great grant at Piedmont Electric Board meeting today. At which time they informed the Piedmont Electric Board that the project was no longer a viable project for them. I've spoken to this board many times in updates and spoken to the board about two programs, one being the Great Grant and one being RDOF, the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund. Originally, River Street had thought they would have a strong application for both of the processes or programs, which would have made their project that much stronger. For River Street, that didn't work out exactly like they had planned. I sent a letter that I copied, or an email that I copied each one of the board members on to our to Senator Berger and Representative Meyer, telling them that I was frankly concerned about the commitment for one or both of these programs moving forward. I will say we've had some pretty productive meetings with Charter. Charter was the winner of RDOF, the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund. The problem with the two different programs is when the bids came in for the Great Grant was awarded first. When the bids came in for RDOF covered the exact same footprint and a little bit additional territory that the Great Grant covered. So they were almost mirror images. So what happened was all of a sudden you had two providers. And with adoption rate being what it is, or what would be in Castle, River Street has decided not to pursue that. What I will say is Charter is fiber to the home instead of wireless. We had a meeting with them. I'm happy to talk with you commissioners individually or about our meeting or answer any questions you may have. But I think the one thing that's important as we move forward is if River Street decides not, which they've indicated it's no longer a viable project, if they decide not to move forward, Castle County still has $1.5 million in grant funds that was awarded to Castle County. I think it's incredibly important for us to stay in touch with the state and make sure that $1.5 million is rebid or stays in Castle County to provide broadband infrastructure in this county. So I'm happy to answer any questions you may have about that. And I'm happy to meet with you or answer any questions you may have about it as well. Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner, did River Street go into any details on their analysis or their rationale for backing out?
Well, pretty much they said because there's two competitors, it was an exact overlay, that it's just no longer a project for them, because they wouldn't get the same adoption rate with two competitors in the area that they were hoping for initially. So as I said before, I'm happy to talk to the commissioners individually about specific details. But I know that's what was reported to the Piedmont Electric board today, so I wanted to share that with you because I feel like that will be public knowledge.
Thank you.
Commissioner comment, Mr. Stiles, Mr. Dixon. Got anything?
Yes, sir. I take offense at a few things in life, and I try to learn the longer I live and let things go. Sometimes things kind of stick in my craw, and I want to clear the air. Mr. McVeigh, earlier you accused me of lying on you because you said you didn't say anything about mandating vaccine. I'm going to read verbatim from the minutes. But it is up to the Board of Commissioners. Commissioner McVeigh said, if an individual decides they don't want to get the shot, it's not good for the county. It's not good for the county employees or anybody else involved. Let them go. If you don't want to get along with the protocol and do what's right for everybody, let them go. What did you mean by that, Rick? You didn't mean let them go for not taking a shot.
Mr. Miller, you went back and listened to the tapes, didn't you?
Yes, sir, I did.
What did it say?
There were a lot of things said in that meeting. I think you both have stated accurately the things that were said in that meeting. I think the fact that you said that you did not want to tell anyone over the age of 21 what to do, and it was their choice. I think that's an accurate statement. And I think what Commissioner Dickerson read is also accurate. So I think you're both making accurate statements. I think the real issue at hand in our last meeting was the intense discussion because of the EMS situation and us being down to 2 ambulances and fire departments having to drive ambulances. So I think both of those statements are.
That's all I have.
You got it? I'm good. Okay. Still, I got one comment. No matter. That point, brother.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Said,
On Jack Point Road, nobody have touched anything, still jumping, none more all over the place, trying to keep the neighborhood. So what are we gonna do?
So I have spoken to the county planner about Jack Point Road. He has went out taking pictures. I'm not sure he has made contact with the owner or the occupant of the residence, but I know that's in his immediate plans to do. But he has investigated the situation. He knows what's out there. He has taken pictures. So we are moving forward with that process.
Doc, all right, Doc Ranch Road, have you heard anything else about it?
So yes, Dog Ranch Road, immediately after the meeting last week, I spoke to the gentleman that spoke at our last meeting, but by phone. And I got the information, and I called that same day, I called the district engineer, Jason Julian, and spoke with him at length about the situation. We kind of came up with an idea of how to proceed. So Ms. Smith was kind enough to put together a set of minutes for that particular public comments period. And I included those in an email to Jason Julian. I may have included the board members. I don't remember if I did or not, but I sent that to our district engineer. He then, in turn, sent that to the Yanceyville Department of Transportation Maintenance Department, and let them know that it was a commissioner's priority that this be taken care of. So whether there was kind of, if I remember correctly, a three-phase approach. One is it seems to be that there's immediate need for road repair. So they will want to come in, assess the road, make any repairs necessary to the road. And second, they were going to try to put down additional gravel or millings, as was suggested in the previous meeting. And then third, because it's going to take much longer and it's going to be a lot more involved, then we're going to try to work together to get the road paved. But there are some residents, and I believe they live in Michigan, that are not residents, they're landowners that live in Michigan that have not yet signed the right-of-way over to DOT. And until they sign the right-of-way over to DOT, it's really hard for DOT to move forward with that process. So between myself and Mr. Julian, we're going to try to reach out to those folks once again to see if we can obtain a signature.
September 27th, 2021, public hearing on SE zoning proposal at 6:30 p.m. Next, October 5th, 2021, cycle, North Carolina. And the next on the item, we go into closed section.
I move to go into closed session to consult with an attorney employed or retained by the public body in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the public body, which privilege is hereby acknowledged. NCGS 143-318.11, parentheses A, parentheses 3, and to consider the qualifications and competence and character and conditions of employment of an employee, which is hereby acknowledged at NCGS 143-318.11, parentheses A, parentheses C.
Been moved proper second of this closed session, all in favor, say aye. Aye. We now sit in open section. Do we need a motion for 5-minute vote?
Mr. Vice Chairman, I make a motion that we change the ABC board membership from 3 to 5 members, and those members to be appointed at a later session.
Second. And then moved. Any questions, sir?
I should say the new members be appointed at a later session.
Reaffirm. Motion is made that we have moved the ABC vote to a 5-member vote, and we will vote on one. Tonight, we already have been sworn in, and the other will come in the next meeting. So you heard the motion, then of course.
The motion was to appoint the new members at the next meeting. Says nothing about anything else.
Any questions? So does that,
Second.
So is that reaffirming Mr. Taylor?
It's my understanding from the discussion that was had, Mr. Tatum has already been appointed. So, Mr. Tatum is a member of, the 5-member board. Mr. Daly would remain a member of that board, until a new appointment is made to fill, the remaining 2 slots, at the next meeting.
Thanks for the clarification.
So repeat the motion, Brian. Can you hear me?
Yes, the motion, I believe, was, there was a motion made to change the ABC board from a 3-member board to a 5-member.
Okay.
And to appoint the new members at a later session.
And to appoint the new members in a later session.
Okay. I'll second it.
move the proper second?
Well, Mr. Chairman, if you will, I heard was there a second in either Commissioner Dickerson or who was the second in the meeting?
I think Mr. Dickerson has seconded the motion.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Dixon, second the motion, all in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed? No, I don't agree. Anything else?
Please, no.
All right, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion made by
Second.
second. I'll second. Second, all in favor, say aye. All opposed?